BMW has just unveiled the new 2025 BMW M135, and this is a very cool hatchback. Unfortunately, we don't get hatchbacks in the United States. Instead, we're gonna get the 2 Series. So this is not coming here, but this is also a preview of what the 2 Series, the new 2 Series, is going to look like. So we're gonna have a look at this, compare it to the current 1 Series, and I'm gonna let you know what I think here. And is BMW moving in the right direction when it comes to the design? I'm going to share my thoughts on that. But before we jump into Photoshop and have a look at what this car is all about when it comes to design compared to the old one from front, side, rear, and also the interior, let's have a look at what this car is all about when it comes to the spec and tech from this article from Motor One, linked down below. Europeans have it good. Not only do they get the Audi S3 Sportback, which is a car that I really wish were sold here as well, and they also get the AMG A45, and now they also get this very cool hatchback, the M135. Now this retains the front-wheel drive architecture of the 2 Series as well. The exterior styling is evolutionary, remaining immediately recognizable as a 1 Series, but with sharper looking headlights, similar to the refresh we've seen in the 4 Series Coupe, Grand Coupe, and the 3 Series as well. Now at the rear though, this is where I have some problems with this design, because the taillights look like they came straight from the latest X2, and I made a video on the X2 here on the channel, shared my thoughts on what I think about that car. If you want to hear that, you can go and check that video out, but it wasn't that positive, and I don't think these taillights look great here on the 1 Series either. The M Performance derivative gets a quad exhaust system inherited from the X1 M35i and the X2 M35i as well. You have a rather odd grille design with interlaced vertical and oblique lines. While most of newer BMWs have flush door handles, this being sort of the base, the entry-level BMW, this one keeps the traditional layout with a regular handle on the sides. This is the company's first car to offer a contrasting roof, so you can have a black roof, gloss black. I do think sometimes that look good if you have a light color on the car, and it probably will look pretty good here. You have wheel sizes ranging from 17 inches to the 19-inch wheels for the M135. The 2025 1 Series gets BMW's iDrive 9 infotainment system with dual screens, screen bonanza. Again, this being BMW, I think they're at the forefront when it comes to removing any sort of physical buttons and just implement everything in some pixelated system. That's what's going on here as well. So you have a 10.25-inch gauge cluster and a 10.7-inch infotainment screen, and most, as I said, of the conventional buttons are gone. In fact, even the traditional iDrive rotary knob that we used to have has now been deleted in the name of minimalism. Minimalism also means a lack of any sort of personality. The 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission can be optionally ordered with shift pedals if you want to, which are standard on the M135. A fully vegan interior is standard with all new M135s for 2025. You have a turbocharged 2-liter gas engine putting out 296 horsepower in the European countries that are stricter on the emission regulations. In other regions, you get 312 horsepower. I'm not sure what the difference would be, if it's that big of a difference that they need to detune the engine for a few European countries, and in other ones you have the full 312 horsepower. Both, no matter if you have the detuned version, you still get 295 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in about 4.9 seconds, and a top speed limited to 155 miles per hour. There is also a base engine which you maybe don't want, but it's still pretty quick. I mean, 1.5-liter turbo 3-cylinder in the 120. It's a mild hybrid powertrain rated at 168 horsepower, 206 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you're listening to 168 horsepower, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it still does 0 to 60. I mean, it's not fast, but it's 7.8 seconds, which sort of the norm just, I feel, 10 years ago, or maybe it was 20 years ago. Time moves too fast these days. And the top speed for this one is 140 miles per hour. So the next generation 2 Series Grand Coupe will premiere later this year with nearly the same technical specifications, and this is the one that we're going to get here in the States. That is going to be more of a, I think it's still a hatchback, but with more sedan proportions. And this one will go on sale in Europe in October. So with that said, let's jump into Photoshop here. Let's have a look at this design. Not sure if this is moving in the right direction. You tell me what you think about this. So on the left side, we do have the new one, the 2025. On the right side here, I do believe this came out in 2021 or 2022 or something like that. I mean, there is a lot that I really prefer with the old one. Still, the grille here is, I think, the biggest change in the graphics in the front end. It's a lot more stretched out horizontally, which is not a bad thing at all. But I don't understand why they put the radar sensor right in between the two kidneys. This is a BMW. We need to have a separation between these two kidneys, something like this, instead of having a radar now melting these two together. It looks like a cell that is about to turn into two cells. We also have some new chamfers here. For example, this chamfer here is new for 2025, and this is going to be the exact same face that we get in the 2 Series that is coming to the United States. You can see the new headlight here, very BMW for 2025 to have the internal pieces of the headlight look a lot more static than what they used to do. This looks like a robot eyeball or something like that. Further down though, this is a section that I do think I prefer the 2025 model year, because this looks a little bit more simplistic than what we have in the 2022 over here. But everything else in the front end, I do prefer the previous generation of the 1 Series. Even the kidneys, even though the kidneys here, as you can see, are still combined, but at least we don't have a flat radar piece right in the middle of it, and they feel more maybe traditional in the layout, in the outline of the grille than we have here. This again comes back to this more static feel that BMW seems to be a huge fan of these days. The headlight also another thing that I think looks better in the previous generation. I'm not sure what you think about this, but the previous headlights, I feel they're a little bit bigger, and they also feel more BMW to me. I'm not sure entirely why, because we still have a pretty static internal pieces for the 2022 generation BMW, and this is another area that, again, I have to say that I prefer the old one when it comes to this area here, this intake, that I'm not sure if it's functional or not. But if you look at the new one, again, it just gets more robotic and more structured and less automotive design, more product and industrial design. However, this middle section here, I do think the new one looks a little cleaner than this, even though there's nothing wrong with the 2022 model year in the front end of the lower section right here. And I also like that we have these corner pieces sticking out like this in the sides that we don't really have on the new one. Now, looking at the side view here, there are a couple of changes to the side view. The line flow seems to be very similar to what we had in the 2022, because we still have this line swooping up here, sort of having a connection to the corner of the taillight, and we have the same line cutting right here, and also this line in the bodywork looks to be pretty much identical to what we have here. Here you can see these door handles that are the old, regular old traditional door handles, but the greenhouse in the previous 2022 one, you can see that we have a clearly defined Hofmeister kink here, a BMW design feature that has been around since, I do believe, even maybe that goes back to the 50s. I do know for the 60s for sure. And here they added this plastic piece up top here, which I'm not sure entirely why. We still have sort of a Hofmeister kink here, but it gets a little blurred out by this plastic piece that we have. And when it comes to the wheel design, 100% I prefer the 2022 to the 2025 model year here. These just look so much better than the wheel design that we have on the new generation up here. In the side view, other than that, it doesn't really feel like there is a lot of changes. You can see the taillights sticking in here very far on the 2022. I also like this color a lot. And you can see that on the 2022, these taillights stick upwards like this, while in the new one, they sort of look a little undefined. I'm not sure what's going on here with this taillight. It looks like just a blob of red in the side without any sort of clear definition to it. You can see it more clearly when we look at the rear view, and this is the view that 10 times better in the 2022 generation of the 1 Series. It just looks so much more BMW, more fluid lines. So I don't know what happened here with the lower diffuser. Just look at how static this is. It's just this empty white rectangle right here in the middle. I'm not sure why they just didn't put a black all across here. I think this is the thing that I don't like about BMW is they're adding these vertical 90-degree angles everywhere on their cars these days, and it just ruins the BMW flow of the design. You can see just how much cleaner it is on the 2022 model year here. We have a chamfer up top. Yes, it dips a little bit, but at least we have some curvatures going on here, and this diffuser just looks a lot better than what we have in the new one, even though, yes, we do get quad tailpipes in the 2025 while we had only 2 on the 2022 model year, but still, we can take these tailpipes, apply them onto this car, and it would be still a much better looking design. Same goes for the graphics on the side here. Very fluid. We have a nice little chamfer here going around this area that we don't really have here. This is just one line like this that sticks up and intrudes into this white ocean that we have here. And last but not least, these taillights, I mean, I'm not sure who thinks that these taillights look better than the 2022 model year. This is just a beautiful looking styling up here. We have this nice chamfer up top that houses the new BMW logo, and then it goes down into the bumper. Classic German hatchback design. We also have this styling in the Golf, for example, ever since the late 90s model or even early 90s. But these taillights here, look at the dynamic features that we have. We have a thick, juicy LED right here in the very far end, and then goes in and connects to the other taillight on the other side, obviously, if we draw a line there. But here, there's no connection between these two features, and you can see just how much more static, again, these internal pieces got for the 2 Series. And again, we have these white static pieces just intruding into the key graphic components. We have that going down right here in the diffuser. We also have that going down up here in the taillights. Very sharp corners everywhere on this car. At least we still have this beautiful chamfer up top with the BMW logo and sort of this Golf design where it flows down from the taillight and then goes in like this into the bumper, similar to what we had on the 2022 model year. And last but not least, this interior. I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record right here, but I prefer the 2022 model year. It's as simple as that, because this looks a lot more cozy than this clinical, sterile interior that we have of 2025. Again, we have this big screen up top. At least the designers this time decided to add a couple of radius here. Look at this. We have a radius up here, and then it goes down here, and we have a curvature for the side of the screens instead of having it be just cut off like this, like we have in a lot of other BMW models. But there is nothing here. Not a single button in this area. We have some toggles for the vents, and that's pretty much it. And if we look at the old one, we do have some nice array of buttons here, clearly laid out, and nice vents as well. A little screen here for the climate control settings, and much more beautifully designed infotainment screen with the still fully digital 12.3-inch gauge cluster here. But now, of course, it does have a housing to it. This steering wheel looks great as well. And looking at the new one, we do have a new steering wheel. I do actually prefer the new design of the steering wheel for the interior, but everything else, the old one is 100% the one that I would choose. And if I were to buy one of these, I would not buy a new one, 135. I would just go online and look for a used 2022 one, because it looks so much better and I feel like it feels so much more BMW in its design.